Hello. Oh, look at that entrance. Look at the swag on that head. Reuben, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
No, it's all good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing very well.
Is it your birthday or
No, something much more important than that.
Yeah, it's Briefcase's birthday. 1 year old today.
amazing? Congratulations, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to Briefcase.
Thank you. We were.
Talk us through the birthday. How are you celebrating?
Yeah, so we actually went out to celebrate yesterday. Went to a mini golf spot. I came second. So here
I've got the medal. Let's go.
But I feel like the celebrations should just continue, right? It's a whole week. I think what you'll find is that most startups also have multiple birthdays because it's like, when did you really start?
Yeah.
So that's also something that we're taking advantage of. Any excuse for social, basically.
Yeah, just keep milking it. Keep milking it.
Yeah. Keep clipping it.
Yeah, keep milking, keep clipping.
Keep clipping away.
Tell us about Briefcase, right? We've done our research, but for the audience, give us like the 1 minute elevator pitch. What is it you've built?
Of course. So we're automating knowledge work in one of the world's largest and most foundational industries, which is accounting. So what that basically means is that we're building an agentic platform where a accountant, bookkeeper, or business owner could upload all of their unstructured financial documents. So think invoices, receipts, credit notes, contracts, and then our AI will take care of the rest. So it would do all the bookkeeping for you, do all the financial close for you, and then in the future also produce your kind of tax return and year-end accounts. That's the vision.
Amazing. And how's it going so far?
It's going very well. Yeah, we're at the beginning part of that journey. So we, at the moment, we'll integrate with people like Xero and QuickBooks. And you would upload your invoices, receipts into the system. We'll complete the bookkeeping, the categorization, the VAT compliance, push it through to those systems. But we're more and more adding more functionality and these exciting things that nobody else has done before. And that's really what's getting a lot of interest in the market.
Amazing. I know that when we you and I spoke a while ago when I was at Pigment, I think this first time we'd properly connected for, I think it was just like a feedback call or something, trying to work out what's going on in the FP&A space. You've had a background in FP&A as well. What's changed since then? So just to get a complete sort of high level, I know that you guys raised 3 million from early birds supported by EF and Tiny Supercomputer. Can you break down what you've been doing with that capital like since then, how you're deploying it? And then I would love to get into hearing, why you guys are killing it on double-digit month-on-month growth as well. Yeah,
of course. So we've come a long way from that call that we had. I think it was about a year ago now on talking about FP&A. That's where my background is. My background's in like finance and strategy and FP&A. And obviously that's where naturally you would go to look first in terms of like, what is it that you want to build? We struggled to build conviction that CFOs had pains that they were willing to spend loads of money for, where they couldn't use existing tooling or piece together existing tooling to solve it. And I think the insight there is that for any business, if you sell to the CFO, the best you can offer is reducing their costs. Like you cannot, however good my product is, let's say I try to sell to the CFO of OpenAI, my product is not going to help OpenAI win more customers or help OpenAI charge more per customer, right? The best thing it can do for OpenAI is help them reduce their costs, which is like, okay, but it's not the strongest value prop. If you sell to accountants and bookkeepers, which is what we do primarily, what the service they deliver, you can provide more efficiently, and therefore they can deliver that service to maybe double the amount of people than they could before. And that completely transforms their business. Or maybe they can have the same headcount, but grow to twice the size. So really that's kind of why we made the switch from focusing on CFOs to kind of focus on accounting tech. And I think that kind of will support it through our fundraise. And then so far that money we've been spending obviously on the team and then on building out the product. We're not investing much in marketing or other things. We're just focusing on the product and kind of building relationships with accountants and bookkeepers who are happy to use it.
Yeah. I mean, on that as well, I've seen you at a load of events recently on LinkedIn and on the socials. It looks like you're kind of doing founder-led sales mode right now. I mean, two questions. How important is that at a pre-seed, seed stage company for the founder to be the one selling the product? And then secondly, I'd love to go into a bit more on what was it like changing from, your ICP is no longer CFOs, like how in terms of how difficult it is now to sell into accountancy companies instead of like you going, high level enterprise company CFOs. I'd love to get your take on both of those.
So founder-led sales, I think, is critical. I don't think anyone will disagree on that. And like at this stage, like everyone in the team is part of the founding team. So actually everyone on the team should be involved to some extent. I mean, for like, an engineer who's like very back-end focused or something, like we might not have them on the sales call, but I definitely will share a recording of the sales call. And we do encourage that people come to these events as well, even engineers, just to kind of get a feel for what the market is asking for and get a feel for how the product is perceived in the market. So I think that's really important. And that context sharing at an early stage is critical. But you're never going to learn as much as when you actually do it, right? Like when you're actually doing the call, when you're actually the one that's listening to the customer, that's when you're going to get the biggest learning. So you need the founders doing that. And I think you need the founding team doing that wherever possible as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like selling to accountants, it's an interesting market to sell to because they haven't had much innovation in like the past decade. Like the last big innovation in accounting was the move from desktop to cloud-based software.
Wow.
Which happened in 2008.
Yeah, 2010 or something.
Yeah, so that's literally the benchmark. And by the way, there are still some accounting firms that haven't done that move.
Yeah.
But that is like, if you speak to an accounting firm and they're like, yeah, we're digital, we're really tech forward, it's because they're on the cloud. That's what they mean by that. So in many ways, that's a great opportunity because it means that when you look around the landscape and the kind of ecosystem, AI hasn't been deployed in a very useful way for accountants yet. And that's essentially what we're here to change. And I think that's helping massively with our growth. And when you mention like what is it that's been contributing to our growth, I think it is having a product that is new to accountants and that does things that weren't possible before. And that is very different to, or that's driving the next kind of wave of innovation in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's very much how we position ourselves as well when we speak to accountants.
That's a really interesting point. And I have like, coming from the FP&A space at Pigment, I think what less so saw it at the time, but I'm more so seeing it now is that, and maybe you could get your input on this, Reuben, and get your take on it, but you kind of have two sides of this like battle with a load of casualties in the middle, thanks to AI in the past like 2 or 3 years, where you have these larger enterprise players, people like from my space, it was like Anaplan and Pigment that are able to kind of ship AI quick enough where they have a pretty large existing customer base where they can roll out some sort of AI feature where it keeps the AI hungry customers, happy enough to kind of wait for the team to develop a more fully fledged product and fully lean into the AI space. On the other hand, you have like people, what sounds like Briefcase is more focused on, like these new AI native financial technology coming into the market. And then in the middle, you just have this group of companies that aren't quite big enough and don't quite have the customer like basis there to just kind of ship a couple AI features and keep them happy. And then that can be their way of saying, hey, look, we are thinking about this shift. But they're not quite small enough to like fully redesign the whole org and switch back to some sort of like AI native company like Briefcase. Do you think the future of AI getting involved in the stack of the CFO is that these middle incumbents just get wiped out and we're only going to see like loads of new smaller players, these AI native players trying to compete with these top dogs?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I mean, I can't really comment too much on the CFO stack because we haven't been in that space for over a year. I think when it comes to an accounting tech, the biggest thing, and accounting techs are trying to adopt AI. Like it's not like they're completely blind to it. You have Xero, which is like rolling Just Ask Xero. We have like QuickBooks, which is rolling out Intuit Assist. But it's very difficult to. Basically, like the most important thing when you're building an AI product is basically like your backend and the way you structure the data. Because you need to be able to feed that data in a useful way to your AI agents so that they can actually take actions with the context that they need in order to take the action correctly. And this is massive in accounting because accounting is a very context-dependent industry. So you might be a coffee shop and you buy paint and that's repairs and maintenance, but you might be a construction company and you buy paint and that's a cost of goods sold. So the context of which company you are is like critical in order to just categorize your transaction. Same thing is true for in order to do like tax compliance for a company. So context is everything. And products which have been built before kind of the AI era didn't build their databases in a way to A, collect the context that they need, or in a way to B, be able to easily surface that context where necessary to AI agents. And this is where you have a huge advantage. And I'm sure that the same is true in other industries, by the way. But this is where you have a huge advantage if you're starting from the ground up to be AI native, because you have that opportunity to orchestrate your product so that it is collecting the amount of information that you need, and so that it's providing it in a useful way to the agents that are taking the task on top. Like to actually kind of make this super real with an example. If you take like the ledger space, so again, like your Xero or like your QuickBooks, these ledgers don't have the context that they need in order to automate financial close. And I learned this when I was at Starling. So when I was at Starling and we got to the end of the month, we would have to go through all of our transactions and see if any of the transactions need adjusting, right? Like identify a prepayment and put an adjustment for it. We couldn't do that just from the P&L because the P&L didn't have the level of data. Like we were lucky if it even had a description. So we would always go back to the original invoice or receipt in order to know if it needed adjusting.
Yeah, it's painful. That sounds really painful.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like part of the insight in Briefcase. If you start with data capture, which is what our kind of wedge product is in the market, you can collect that information that you actually need in order to automate all of those downstream workflows. But that insight isn't obvious pre-AI. It is obvious afterwards. And then we can build from the ground up with that insight.
And how easy was it for you to convince the investors that you got on board that this is a real problem and it's a problem worth solving?
I think part of the challenge, I mean, like it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like hugely difficult. I think the thing which we had to overcome initially is that people would hear about what we're doing and just assume CFO tech stack, and then would like talk to us about numeric or like completely unrelated companies. And we had to like, tell them actually we sell to accountants, this is their pain problem, this is their workflows. And I think in every good fundraise, you are educating the investors, right? Like that is part of what you have to do, and you have to do that in a convincing way. And it's very useful to identify where they might have misconceptions and like politely like correct or say, actually, this is our experience. Like actually, we've interviewed 200 accountants and bookkeepers, and this is what they told us, and then kind of like put them on that path. So it required a little bit of education and like guiding at the start. But once as long as you've actually done the homework and you've done the research, like it's not too hard to get them on board.
Yeah. Something I wanted to chat to quickly as well, more of like a zooming out period. So we had Will Kaplan on before you, who was also part of the Boulderson Launchpad. I didn't actually know originally that you guys were also involved in that a while ago. I think Sivesh mentioned. Could you maybe walk us through like? I mean, it seems that the people coming out of that are doing exceptionally well. Like, what is the Boulderson Launchpad? What happens there?
Yeah, so Boulderson Launch is a great program, and we're very close with Sivesh, who helped us get on the program. Basically, what they do is, I think they do it twice a year. They find the most promising pre-seed stage startups, and they just invite them to work from Boulderson's office. And that's pretty much it. They do run a couple events or talks. So we had some great speakers come from the US, from the UK as well, to share their insights. But it is very hands off, which I think is good for them for the most part. Like especially for the kind of stage companies, they're typically inviting companies that already have an idea and are already working on something.
Yeah. So
they're super hands off. They provide a wonderful environment and free offices, so you can't really complain at the free office space. And for us, it was great to be surrounded by other startups at a similar stage. I mean, that's the main thing that you get out of it.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, we've got time. Maybe one more question. I'd love to hear what is the biggest priority for Briefcase right now. How can we help get the message out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think and this is going to be true, I guess, for kind of all founders, but the most important thing is the team. And I think that's like going to be, if you're a founder, that's where you should be focusing most of your time. So we are hiring at the moment. We're hiring engineers. If anyone is interested, we'd love to have a chat. The other thing, which is always a priority for everyone at Briefcase, is the product. We are a product obsessed team. Everyone on the team codes, even if they're not from technical backgrounds. We'll get you set up on Cursor. You'll be shipping stuff in no time. And we don't want to lose touch of our product obsession. So every decision we make is like through a product lens of does this make sense? Given our vision, does it make sense given who we want to serve? And being very kind of, where possible, being opinionated and critical on those decisions. So I think those are two priorities. Obviously building out the team and making sure we're finding people that are the right fit, and then maintaining the same level of product obsession, which got us to where we are today.
Nice. Well, we can try and help out with finding people.
Some cracked engineers.
We'll have to get some cracked engineers on
Exactly.
and then connect you guys. We should become like a recruitment funnel.
Yeah. We should have a like a ETS job bulletin board.
Ooh, yeah. Maybe we can get you an engineer if we set that up. We'll have to do it pretty quick though, because you guys are moving pretty quick. Reuben, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We'll have to get you back on. Enjoy the rest of the party. Enjoy the rest of the birthday. I hope there are many more medals to come.
I'm sure there will be. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Thanks, Reuben.
Cheers, Reuben. Nice one.
Take care.